Okay, this one's going to be a little longer because this is going to be the garage, the outbuilding water heater, the outbuilding electrical system, and part of the outbuilding air conditioning system. So it's not the outbuilding exterior so much, but basically half of that as well. So let's get started. This is the sub panel. This is the west interior wall in the garage. It's in the garage closet. And what we have here is we do not have the rubber booties that protect those hot in L1 and L2. If you don't know that's hot, you don't belong in the panel. Our white hots for our 220s, they're not wrapped with black tape. If you don't know they're hot, then you don't belong in this panel. But that's what they are, and that's what they're not. So the bonding location is not labeled. Wires should not come in contact with the panel cover. This panel was screwed into place, faster and tighter. You get that. Okay. So, but again, like the other panel, if it was nailed in place, it's going to be much more likely to stay in position. This cabinet this house experience, this structure experience something like a tornado. Gaps in the panel should not be more than 1/8 of an inch. So white hot, what's different from this panel board and the other panel board, load center, breaker box, electric service panel, call it what you will, but what's different is the grounds and the neutrals are not bonded. In the other box, they're bonded and they're not supposed to be. This box, the labeling is a little better in this box, in this cabinet, so it is printed. But down here we've got some handwriting, and then over here we've got an identified circuit breaker, and obviously it's going someplace. So that's the panel. As we move along, not in the order of the report, this is the water heater. It's about 4 years old, so it's been replaced. We do not see a green tag or a permit. There's not an electric service disconnect for the water heater. You'd have to go into that panel to turn it off and it would be out of sight. It's 40 gallons. It looks like it was flushed in 2019. We've got more than 5 bins on the temperature pressure relief valve drain line, and on the other side of the house it discharges higher than 6 inches from the ground. This temperature pressure relief valve is not insulated. This is the fluorescent tubes in the garage. They should have protective prism covers on them. This courtesy light for the overhead door, the metal overhead door, this courtesy light does not work. It's inoperable. The optic sensors are higher than 6 inches from the ground. They're supposed to be 6 inches or closer. We do have spring tension notices, but we do not have I call them squash stickers, but a safety notice posted here. We do not have a safety notice posted here. Also, this button, it's about 5 feet from the ground. I'll leave that alone. I'll leave that alone. What else? What else? The manual door lock was not installed, and that's a good thing. If it had been installed, I would have written it up. This door into the garage is not accessible. Could not inspect it due to storage. Just couldn't. Speaking of storage, we got some. Alright. This door casement is rotting. This bottom door rail, we've got developing some wood rot in there too. Sure are. Coming along. I do not know what this is. This looks like a sump pump. Sump pumps are beyond the scope of this inspection. However, we do have an air admittance valve, which is kind of curious because we do not have any ventilation for the apartment upstairs. So what's that about? And it looks like we got a main drain right here. I don't know. This retaining wall is close enough to the structure. That's an exterior part. Okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Main power supply line, it's called the service drop. It should not be in the trees. Trees should not touch it. It should not be closer than 36 inches to a window. Your meter and the mains should be sealed on the top 3 sides. But this retaining wall looks like it's in pretty good shape. I'll tell you about it later. Explain. Lawn sprinkler heads, later, should not be closer to the structure than 12 inches. The condensing unit, and this is all of them, by the way, it just occurred to me, this is all of them. We do not have rain diverters over the condensing units. The water just rolls right off the roof, all right onto all three of the condensing units. This condensing unit is not level. The coils don't look that bad. It's not 3 inches, it's not elevated 3 inches above the ground. It's not level. That works. This is the disconnect. It works. Wrong kind of foam like the others. This disconnect should not be behind the unit. Should be sealed on 3 sides. Wrong kind of foam. Can I get in there and see those? I know it doesn't have them, but I can't see it. This right here, my friend, is the primary drain line for the garage apartment air conditioning system. It's not supposed to discharge water. You can discharge directly to the exterior, but it's not supposed to discharge in a place where it's considered a nuisance. That drain line should discharge probably on the other side of that retaining wall. That discharge is too close to the house. This is back to the water heater we were talking about, and these, obviously they're higher than 6 inches. What is this insulated pipe? What is that? That's the water supply to the water heater, and all these holes should be sealed